Hi everybody. Welcome again to the 4th and 5th grade Christian formation at St. Timothy's Church. Today we'll be using the Venture magazine for October 25th. Looks like this. We'll be reading the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 22, verses 34 through 40. Last time we talked about the first 3 commandments. Today we're going to talk about the greatest commandment of all. So we also heard last week how the Pharisees often tried to trick Jesus. The Pharisees often questioned Jesus about how to follow the Jewish law. This law includes 613 mitzvahs, which are rules or commandments. They cover everything from food to worship. Some of the Pharisees test Jesus to make sure he knows what he's talking about. Others try to trick Jesus into saying that he thinks the law is no longer worth following. Jesus' law of love is one law in 2 parts. Love God and love your neighbor. Think about the 10 commandments. The first 3 commandments tell us how to love God. We honor him as the only God, we respect his name, and we keep his Sabbath day holy. The rest of the commandments tell us how to respect one another. Our parents, our lives and relationships, our things, and all of creation. When we show respect, we also show love. The church teaches us that loving a neighbor means that we do no wrong to them. When we love, we keep the law. What does this love look like? Jesus calls us to make friends with new kids at school. Jesus calls us to eat lunch with kids who get left out. He calls us to do what we say we will do at home. Jesus calls us to use our own good qualities to show love and respect to others. So let's turn to page 4 of the Venture. At the top of the page where it says, "What are the greatest commandments?" we'll read Matthew's Gospel. A Pharisee, a teacher of the Jewish law, asked Jesus a question to test him. "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment of our law?" Jesus replied, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the most important commandment. The second most important commandment is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. On these 2 commandments rest the whole law and the prophets." So don't forget, Jesus says the 2 greatest commandments are to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, but also the second commandment, greatest commandment, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. He puts these 2 commandments together. So it's important to love God, but it's also important to love your neighbor. And who is your neighbor? Anybody have any ideas? Well, you're right. Your neighbor is the person who lives next door, your friends, the kids you go to school with, but they're also strangers. Everybody in your community, everybody in your church. I want you to think about examples of how you have shown love to your neighbor as you love yourself. And think about that as you finish the activities in the Venture work booklet for this week. Do the front page activity. Read the article about living your faith. And don't forget to turn to pages 6 and 7 and complete that activity as well. Have a great day.